Hi everyone, welcome to Find Your Flow. I am Natalie. Today we've got a quick practice to fire up the center and practice our planks. Hop onto your mat and I'll meet you there. Awesome, so we'll begin our practice in a comfortable seated position. Just feel free to lift your hips up a little higher if you would like to. And then come to sit up nice and tall. Allow the shoulders to release away from the ears, any tension to melt away from the face. And as we close down our eyes, bring our hands onto our belly. Just take a moment to send some love, appreciation to this space, to everything it provides for us day in, day out. And take a second to tune into your breath, just consciously inhaling and exhaling through your nose. Just arriving on your mat. And setting an intention for our practice today, even though there's going to be lots of moments where there is lots of effort involved in our movement, are we able to channel a sense of ease as we do this? So just think about what that means to you and how you can do that. Marrying together, in yoga we call it the sthira and the sukha, the effort and the ease. Find one more breath here. Sigh it out the mouth. And then flutter the eyes open, bring one hand to each knee and just gently begin to wake up the body as we roll around in circles. Keep grounding down heavy through the lower body. And don't worry if these circles turn more into wiggly squiggles. Just go with the movement that you want to take. Send it in the opposite direction. And then coming back to center, reach the arms out wide and start to roll through the wrists and wiggle the fingers one direction and the other direction. Awesome. Fingertips come to the shoulders and just circle around the elbows, sending some love and movement to the shoulder space. Nice big intentional circles here. And then in the opposite direction. Awesome. Just beginning to really connect to moving breath with movement, movement with breath. Letting it guide us through our practice. Release, shake off through the wrists and then jump forward to a tabletop position. Take any extra padding you might want underneath the knees. The wrists beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. Pressing through the palms to lift up and out of the shoulders. Slight hugging in of tummy button toward the spine. We're going to be really focusing on this a bit more today. So rather than our lower back collapsing down, think about just gently hugging up so we can create a long flat back. From here, just warm up through the spine. Roll tailbone down. Lift the spine, drop the gaze, cat pose. In your own time, lift the tailbone. Roll the tummy down. Heart opens forward, cow. And moving here a few more times with your breath as your guide. Feel free to have a little wiggle. Just take what you need. Awesome. And then we'll float our way back to center and come to set up firstly in our low plank. Now this might be where you want to stay today. So walking the knees together and further back, rocking forward so the shoulders stay over the wrists, actively pressing the palms away, hugging in tummy button toward the spine. So mindful we're not collapsing or keeping this big bend here. We're looking to find a long line from the back of the head to the back of the knees. Either stay here or begin to tuck the toes, lift the knees, press the heels away from us. If this is too much on the wrists, whether the knees are lifted or lowered, we can bring our hands to fists. Know that this is a great option to still strengthen, but just take a little pressure directly out of the wrist joint. We can also bring our forearms to the ground. But everything else still applies. Press forearms and palms to the earth. Slight hugging in of tummy button toward the spine. Be here for one more breath, your version of a plank pose. And release. Just come to sit back on the knees. Roll out through the wrists, the arms. Nice. And then jumping back forwards, your version of a plank. And bring the right knee up towards the right tricep. And release. Left knee up towards left tricep. Release. Keep moving here side to side. If we're on our forearms, it will look a little bit like this. And if we're in our low plank, same thing, just lifting up. Slow mountain climbers. Keep breathing. Keep spreading through the hands nice and actively. One more time to each side. And release. Sit back, hips to the heels. Find a child's pose with the arms reaching forwards. And just roll out through the wrists. Nice. And then jumping back up into your plank pose. Wherever you are, with the knees lifted or lowered, we'll find our strong, sturdy plank and begin to dip our hips down towards the left side. Up through center, towards the right. All the way up and down. All the way up and down. So we might be here on our forearms. Wherever we are, just mindful that we're not lifting the hips really, really high in between. Awesome. Keep breathing here. One more time to each side. And then release. Awesome. Taking a second again just to sit on the legs and shake it off, roll it out. If you're on those forearms instead, we're still working in our center, but those shoulders are probably firing up. So just take a little bit of movement to this space. Nice. And then jumping back through. Find your version of a plank, and I'll always say your version because your version might be different to my version, and it's about taking what you need right now in your practice. It might change if you do this again tomorrow or next week, but for now, just think about where you're at. Awesome. So either knees lifted or lowered. And if the knees are lowered, we'll step the knees out to the side. But if the knees are lifted, we'll step the foot out to the side. If the knees are lifted, keep pressing away through the heels. So the legs are super, super active here. All the way towards the back of the mat. Nice. Every time we reset in the hands, their fingers are spreading nice and wide. Trying to find as little movement as we can in the hip and pelvic space, so we're not moving loads as we float from side to side. Nice. One more time to each side. You got this. And release. Whew. Just take a second to come back, shake it off. Every time we come and reset, we are inviting ourselves to come back to our breath. So notice where your breath's at. Inhale and exhale intentionally through the nose. Nice. And this time we're going to mix it up. So coming into a side plank. Our left arm is going to be on the ground. So we can either bring our forearm to the ground, or we can keep our arm long. And our knees can be lifted or lowered. Choose whatever works for you. We're going to keep our right hand on our right hip, and we have the option to stay here. There's a heck of a lot going on here. But we can also add some dips into our practice. Make it work for you. Keep breathing. Really checking in with the side of the deep abdominals here. Very much sending some attention to the obliques. Nice. One more dip. And then come into the other side. I'll just swap sides so you don't have my back to you. So the right hand is down. Find your version of your plank with the left hand on the hips. Either staying here or dipping down. And just being mindful that our shoulder roughly stays over and in line with the elbow and the wrist. So if we have our arm really far away from us and we're trying to dip there, it's much more difficult to tap into that stability in the shoulder and the arm and all of the muscles around this space. So just bear that in mind. If we practice this video often and we do want to vamp it up a little bit, then feel free to lift a leg, woo, and take it up a notch. Maybe that's for another day. Nice. One more dip. And release. Whew. And just take a second, roll it out. Nice. One big breath in. Big breath out. And our final play with our plank. It's coming to, again, knees lifted or lowered. And everyone here starting with the palms on the ground. So we're going to come down to our forearms. These are called commandos. There's other names for them as well. I just can't think of any off the top of my head now. So what we're going to do, I'll show you first, knees on the ground. We're going to come down to our forearms, press up, down to the forearms, press up. Trying to swap arms every time we do. So right comes down, press up with the right. Left comes down, press up with the left. Here or here, let's go. Trying to keep as little movement as we can in our hips as we lift and lower. It's very hard to talk and breathe, so I'm just going to breathe for a bit. Nice. Just a couple more times, both sides. Last one. Woo! Awesome. Everyone, knees to the earth. Roll it out, shake it off, and then come to find yourself in a child's pose and stay there. Just come back to your gorgeous breath. Inhale fully through the nose. Exhale, let it out the mouth. And again, in through the nose. One last time. Slowly rise up. Just give your belly a little rub. Spread that rub to your shoulders, who also probably work quite hard today. Creating stability in our body so that it can really support us both on and off our mat. You're awesome. Thank you for being here. Namaste.